Oh, right, yeah, it has been a minute, but we are back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video, and this one is meta related. And the reason why I haven't been, among other reasons, been posting videos or been too active as far as posting different things is because, you know, I've been busy, been out of town and been doing other things. And this weekend on Saturday I will be at Vegas, or in Vegas, the Court CCG regional, and that all my focus as far as DBS related content and everything else has been related to that. And that's another reason why I'm making this video as well. But if you are going to be there, let me know in the comments. Let me know as well as for this list, do you agree with it? Do not skip to the end. Let me explain myself, okay, instead of going to the end and letting me know why I'm wrong, or something should be there, or why is that one there. This is not the end all be all list, okay? This is just me starting this kind of series out as far as just like the meta staples, going in every so often. I'm going to be doing meta staples right after the Atlanta list has been released as well. Atlanta just passed as the time of this recording, and as of right now the deck lists are not out, so this is going to be a completely separate video from that, and I have not seen those lists. This is just going off what I've seen as far as play goes and what every single leader looks like and what they can do. So yeah. Oh, also I should be starting Untap weekly tournaments very soon. Watch out for the details for that. Join our Discord as well, as far as because everything goes through that, as far as to post lists, to ask questions, to just to hang out. It is a good time. It's always in the description. So let's start with the first one. Obviously tier 1. Guess who? Guess him. Guess always. It's always going to be, not it's always going to be, but it's going to be Hurrigan. And that's not really going to be a very surprising thing to see, right? Hurrigan, the pros of him is that his draw power is immense. He gets to get rid of all of his cards that he does not need as far as battle cards early on, as far as his draw, or drop 1 and draw 2. He has access to Phantom Flame Cannon, his super combo that drops any card and he draws 2, etc, etc. And right now the main 2 variants for him are going to be the red blue, which is, you know, it's kind of the thing of like, if you're going to be playing a red blue variant, you're eventually going to be like, okay, why not just play Hurrigan? It's not going to be the same thing as far as SS3, but you know, it's still going to be one of those things you have to kind of consider. And is it tier 0? No, I don't think so. Storm is beatable, which is the other variant that's being played right now, the main variant, which is blue yellow. And red blue is also beatable. It just really depends on what you're playing, and as well as the palette for both of you. That really kind of comes down to the other leader, which is Trunks. It's weird. It is really weird. I have this discussion all the time that Trunks is almost as bad as Hurrigan sometimes when you have similar, if not the same decks or engines going through it. So right now, as I know, like I said, I haven't seen all the deck lists, but I know most of the leaders have topped in Atlanta, and I do believe a blue yellow has topped either 2nd, 3rd, or 1st. One of those, top 3, top 4 maybe, for Trunks, and I know there's 2 in the top 8. I know that Hurrigan was like top 5 or something like that. So, you know, Trunks, if you didn't know, of course, every time that he combos on his turn, you get to draw 1 if it's 2 or more for energy, and it's a battle card, obviously. And then his like, there's so many strengths as far as his goes. He has the mind blockers for free. He has everything as far as an aggressive build. Chain attack Zeno is really strong. Blue yellow is really strong. Or blue red is really strong. That's what I personally play. Blue yellow is still really good even without flute, and it does get hit a little bit as far as Trunks goes. And the reason why people pick Hurrigan for blue yellow over Trunks is simply because of the untap 2 instead of draw. But when you get to the point and you start playing Trunks over and over again, you can understand why Trunks is so good in those very explosive turns when he awakens. So you attack either for one card for Awakening and for like the 1-drop Trunks, 1-drop Kaba, etc, etc. And then you get to combo either on them or on the leader, and then you awaken, draw 2, and then you combo again, you draw another, and you attack with the leader, awaken, and you draw another. So it just kind of keeps going and going, and the draw power is crazy. Shout out to Joel. But yeah, I mean that's just me. That is just me when it comes down to it. And that kind of leads us to the other tier, the next one. And I know you might be saying something along the lines of, why is that even there? Why is that a thing? It is tier 1.5. And this is the thing of right now the meta's in a weird place, right? And to me is that, you know, you have to consider like to me tiers are like everything above it should be everything below it on a consistent basis, like 60-40 at least, right? Everything within that tier should be able to beat each other. And then everything below it is obviously worse than that tier. That's how, in my mind, tiers work. And for me, and I'll kind of explain for some of these matchups and some of these decks, is sort of the same as well. That being said, I'm going to be a little bit biased and say Androids is definitely 1.5. It's my pick, my deck of choice. Everybody hates seeing the green leader either Cell or Androids respectively. Honestly, Cell I don't really think has a... Okay, hot take. I don't think it really has a place right now in the meta. When it does slow down and we get more things that we need to remove, which, you know, with Kami and all these other ones coming out as far as removal goes, I don't think that's really necessary, but his draw power is still pretty immense, and he still has access to a lot of Android trait things. And going into set 5, now that I know I've seen it, Super 17 was revealed, it's gonna be even better, right? And I think someone took like a red build, something along the lines as far as Cell goes, and I thought that was pretty baller. And I think that's still a cool thing. There's a lot of things that all of these leaders, if you look outside of their normal thing, like their normal builds, you can get a lot of goodness. And I think Androids is in a good place. Just being a green leader in itself is kind of hard, but because of Cell Chain, because of all the access, because of their super combos, it's really good. Hand destruction affects everybody, but the issue is that when you look at both of these guys, as far as Trunks and as well as Rudigan, blue-red Rudigan on a consistent basis, with a good player and a good player, with their best decks and etc, even in best of 3, the Rudigan red-blue will always come out, almost always will come out on top once you get the right cards going. And then blue-yellow, same thing, right? There is even Rudigan veggies, right? There's a couple other variations as far as that goes, but when you think about it, yeah, it does lose to these two pretty consistently. And when I play Androids, it's kind of annoying to see these two, and that's the thing. That's kind of like the hard thing. The two decks to beat right now, right? And I think Cell Chain, it was going to be in tier 1, but because it loses to blue red so easily sometimes, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of one of those things that you have to consider again. Blue yellow, to me anyway, is kind of an easy matchup, and I think some people would agree. The next one is Pan. So Pan, yeah, 1.5. If you don't, come on, it's Pan. Pan is such a good defensive and offensive leader. It's just like her tempo is so much less than a lot of other leaders, right? So like after turn 3 or turn 4, she can go off and she can do a lot of different things. But before then, it's all about negates. It's all about building hand advantage. It's all about building your board so that way it can kind of go off later on. Plus, she is one of the best, if not the best, leaders for Chain Attack Zeno after the ruling, after you get to draw 6, and then one more after attacking with leader. So I mean, with that advantage in itself is pretty damn good. And you know, other people still, you know, have their chain attack goodness and everything else like that as well. But you know, that's just me. But for her, again, really solid, really good at what she does. And when you go against a good Pan player, it's kind of tough and kind of grindy as well. So those are the things that you have to look out for. But again, when you look at these two leaders, and there are different variations. And again, when you look on a consistent basis, if everybody plays 100 games against each other with these two decks, most of the time these will prevail right now anyway. That leads us to Soul Striker. Yeah, Soul Striker is definitely 1.5, only because it is the replacement for Super Saiyan 3 right now. It's the closest thing you'll get other than Ironbound Trunks. You know, Soul Striker, you untap 2 for blue. It is really good for mono blue, and people are still playing. I played against many blue-green variants, some blue-red variants as well. Those are all very, very good. And I think, again, Soul Striker is in a good place right now, even with the draw 2, which is not as normal as other decks go. But I think, again, he's in a really, really good place right now. And I think even if you play mono blue, you know, that's how I see it. That, which leads us to, I mean, that really leads us to, I'm just gonna say, yeah, Son Gohan, Universe 7 Gohan. This guy, he is again a strong leader. Like, the draw power is really good, but all the Universe 7 support, he untaps 2 to keep it going. And I've played many Son Gohans before, and shout out to my local guy Paulo for playing Son Gohan as well. Yeah, I mean, if anything, yeah, he's so good. Like blue red as a main base for him is really good. Danny Hype has shown that as well, taking this man up into the top plays and making a really good build as far as that goes, even right now. And I think he's in a good spot at 1.5 because, again, it's more of a thing of, like, when you're talking about leaders in itself, when you want to play blue-red, you're probably going to be leading into these guys because they just simply do it better. The opportunities that Son Gohan has is that as soon as you get countered, a lot of the draw power goes away, right? And you have to work around that. And against control decks or slower decks, etc., it kind of loses to that pretty easily when they get to either ramp up or get into their later turns and do some big plays, while this man is still not drawing. So that, I mean, that's the thing. You have to consider that as well. Hercule. So yeah, it's not like, you know, it's not like I didn't say he was good before. It's not like I didn't put a deck profile maybe 2 weeks before Atlanta or anything else like that. But my man, well, not really my man, but the man, Gaston, Peter Katani, just put up some numbers out in the gym with Hercule getting top 8 in Atlanta, and he has really shown and has reflected to a lot of other people playing him out, and discovering how well he plays and how good he is. It's just simply because he draws so much, and he has a lot of different defenses and a lot of access to World Tournament, so he has a lot of different options when it comes down to it. And that kind of what makes him tier 1.5, is that the simple draw power. So when you consider any kind of leader and any kind of strong deck, a lot of them have really good draw power or cycling. A lot of them have really good defense or offense. He kind of has all those things. And yes, his leader is pretty weak compared to a lot of other different leaders, but at the end of the day, it's all about how you end it and how you play it. And I think Hercule does both of those things pretty damn well. Next one is Announcer. Again, another World Tournament man. So if you don't think Announcer is 1.5, you're, my baby. You I don't know. Played a lot of good Announcer decks lately, and he's been up and up as far as the recent tournaments, either prelims or as well as the regionals. I don't know if the Announcer topped in Atlanta, but I will still say that you probably seen a lot of them. I'm going to see a lot of them this weekend. There's been a lot of talk as far as local scene for Announcer. There's been a lot of talk in you know, different groups and stuff like that as far as him goes, simply because he does draw just like Pan on both sides, or both turns, just simply for any kind of World Tournament cards. Plus, he does have access to his World Tournament arena, which pumps everybody up, and of course his backside, which does now make sense. At first reading it for the duration of the game, it's just for game enders. It makes a lot of sense. And he still can use extra cards. So unlike Zeno and other leaders, or other restricted leaders like the Green Goku from the original set, or the Universe 7 Goku from the original set, he can still have access to a lot of different things. So that's just my opinion. And look at this, another World Tournament leader. Now, he was kind of in between the 1.5 and tier 2. I think Jackie Chun really got a lot of hype when people started thinking of different things as far as like his yellow prowess goes, but I personally think he still is 1.5. I mean, this might be still kind of a bias slash a subjective opinion, which is kind of redundant now that I say that. But I personally think that he's a really, really good leader. His flip side, 20k into a draw and not being able to combo is so strong. Access to Sagesh, and as well as all the other World Tournament exclusives is so good. And all that combination is so good. And he is a really, really, really good best of one leader if you play that. And just overall, he's just so good. Like I love Jackie Chan, and nobody can tell me otherwise. And that kind of leads me to Universe 7 Frieza. I couldn't fit everybody in there. I realize like some of these are super like uneven, so just bear with me, okay? Universe 7 Frieza. So like you know, again, it's one of those things. Like if you look at any of these leaders, these guys are all gonna have a hard time against the best decks that are in the game with these two leaders, right? And that's what makes them tier 1, and this one makes them tier 1.5. When more and more cards are released and more things are brewed up and played and we are showcased, these guys are going to move up into tier 1 and compete with these guys on a consistent basis and either beat them or compete with them, you know, like a good 50-50 match, right? It just all depends on how the pilot goes. And I don't think any of these guys are there, but Universe 7 Frieza in itself is such a tough thing. Like if someone's playing Victory Strike, which majority of the time they're gonna be, is either that or the Universe 7 Frieza, the SR one. It's just like a ticking time bomb. Like if you can't get around it, if you don't know how, if you're playing something control like androids or pan or something like a little less tempo and a little less aggro, Frieza's gonna end that ass. Like he's gonna get that ass, and he's gonna be like, give me that ass. This is all about ass. Look at that, he's coming for the booty. Like that is the type of thing that Frieza does, and I think you have to prepare for that in the sideboard, either with Mafuba or Bad Ring to Bad Ring their Bad Ring, Enraged, Awakening Gohan. These things are all the things that you have to kind of prepare for it. But when you look at these decks and go against this one, it's just a hard time. Like again, shout out to Joel. He and I have been testing recently with Blue Yellow Rudigan, me playing that, and then him playing Universe 7 Frieza, and it's not great. You know, it's not great. Even without flute, it is a terrible time. That's kind of it for the 1.5 though. Now let's go right into the tier 2 leaders. Yes, starting off with Vegeta. I hate to put him down into the tier 2, but personally, in my wholehearted opinion, even though he is a very, very well designed, very, very strong leader, I think he could be in this area as well. But for me, he kind of edged out down to tier 2 for now, until some people, if not me, show that he can compete with everybody else again. He is a blue leader, which, you know, in itself again should be in a 1.5 tier 1 sort of list. But as a tier 2, and I think when you think about tier 2, don't think about it as in like this is a bad leader. It's more of like there are better leaders to play in against everything else in the meta. And I think Vegeta, when you're looking at what he was made for when it comes to Universe 7, I think Gohan might be a better leader. I think Frieza might be a better leader. Even the Green Goku from the Ultimate Box might be a better leader for Universe 7. So those are the things that you kind of have to think about. But again, since he got hit with the Vegeta lock, or the lock for now I forgot it, the warping Massane, I just forgot the name of it now. The energy lock deck, now that the ruling has been made for that one, he's kind of gotten nerfed. Due to that, he's moved down a tier. And again, when you start making blue decks or blue minded decks, you start looking at other leaders like the ones above them. So again, tier 2 is not that bad. It's really not that bad. You can still play him, you can still top, you can still do well with him, with the right mindset as well as the right deck. And there's other things like the Boo that is floating around, the Boo build for Vegeta. There's Vegeta veggies as well, and there's other variations that are very effective. But right now, I'm leaving him at tier 2. Second one is Mass Saiyan. If you haven't played Mass Saiyan in this format, slash meta, slash everything, you're doing it wrong. He is a very, very strong leader, especially with the added West or East Kais that has double strike. And now you have even more double strike critical things to do. But again, he suffers from similar things that are easily countable, like with Son Gohan, even though since Son Gohan is a blue leader, he has access to other things like that. For Mass Saiyan, he has to do the old-fashioned way, but still is very, very strong when it comes to drawing 2 on his Awaken, getting critical almost every single time if you build it right for your deck on every turn, and having access to a lot of Overwhelm cards that work well with his effect, basically. And I personally think he is the best black leader still, the most aggressive black leader still. And I think Demagogue is really good, but he's not on this list. That's just me. But right now, if you, again, have, like if you go against a Pan, or if you go against androids, if you go against maybe even Frieza over here, you're gonna have a pretty good time with Mass Saiyan. It just depends on how much they can counter with, as far as the counter cards and as well as blockers. So those two things kind of shut down Mass Saiyan, and you have to plan accordingly. And it's a little bit of a difficult time because you can't recover and or have the same hand advantage as other leaders. But when it gets going, Mass Saiyan is damn good. Son Goku, another World Tournament leader. I put pretty much all of the World Tournament leaders up here. He is a green leader, so obviously he is not as good as other leaders, like with Hercule. He has the red, and his combo, his double shot, and everything else like that. Everything else, well, just because of his draw power, he's still really good. Because of his draw power, he's really good. Because he's yellow, and because of his effect, he's really good. But for Son Goku, he does have access to Feet Kamehameha, which is great. Not as awesome as I thought it would be, but still really, really good, and people expect it a lot, which is why you run into counters, which is why you run into blockers and things like that. But with his flip side, being able to restand after KOing something, blockers aren't too much of an issue. And the other part of it is that having access to the green exclusive World Tournament stuff makes him a good tier 2 solid deck. And I think he did top, if not did really well in one of the last regionals coming out. I don't think it was Atlanta. I think it was something else. But either way, he's really good. He's really fun. I've been meaning to put out the video for that. I actually have it rendered out and and done. It's just that the gameplay that I put in there, I misplayed, and it was a bad ruling. So I just kind of scrapped it and never came back to it. So now I'm rebuilding it, and after regionals, he's probably gonna be out and about. Baby, yeah, Baby is out here. For you Baby lovers, that sounds weird. He is here on the tier 2 list, and I think he is really good, but again, suffers from being or having to tap out, even with being a red-blue or just model red. It's kind of difficult to keep up with a lot of different leaders, and I think going into set 5 and with the new draft box leader, the new Baby is actually going to be in the same place, if not better. And going to see a lot of good stuff coming from it. And with this pure removal, and as well as access to his Machine Mutant exclusive cards and all the stuff that's coming out for the set 5, hopefully we'll have a little bit more support. If not, going into the next sets, we'll see. But I think Baby is still really good. I don't personally play him. He's just not my style. And I think the reducing like 10k, reducing 5k or whatever, reduction in numbers is really underrated right now, and I think more and more people should look into it. Next one is Vegeta. Look at his son up there. He is not proud because he's down here, but Vegeta is still good. But the thing is that about him, yes, he does have critical, yes, he is blue, but right now taking life from your own life, if that makes sense, is kind of detrimental, which is why Oob is not up here. His flip side is kind of and yeah, he does have technically 12 super combos, whatever. He is a blue leader. It's just like taking life in order to activate his effect is kind of detrimental, and as well as his is as well. Wow, I don't know what I was saying there, but because he is still Vegeta, he is really good. Like I think Vegeta is still really good in being aggressive and being able to keep up with his draw power and everything else like that. I think this is good. I think he's good. I just don't think he's like tier 1.5, tier 1. That's just me. Just simply because you have to take a life. If you didn't, then you just don't get his effect, and why would you play him in the first place? Just play Trunks. Speaking of Trunks, his little you don't get to be with the big Trunks, but you do get to be with the small Trunks Vegeta. And Iron Valve Vegeta, wow. Iron Valve Trunks is still really good. Again, a replacement for Super Saiyan 3. I proved myself with the Iron Valve Boo. The updated deck for that is really good and really fun. Just loses to Red Blue, just loses to not being able to keep up again with draw power and tempo. He is a very good mono blue leader, which is his effect needs to be mono blue anyway. And because of that, he's restricted, and that's another thing. Like when you get restricted to different archetypes and you don't have too much, except for Vegeta. Vegeta again could be up here. You kind of get knocked down to me. Like if you have restrictions and stuff like that, I don't really like it. And the last one is Zeno. Speaking of restrictions, Zeno Maidens is the first thing that will come to mind as we get more and more universe support. Yeah, universe support. It's gonna be interesting to see how that goes and other builds. But right now, Zeno Maidens is the strongest, if not the most popular build for him, and for good reason, because he is that is a very strong deck. Like if you can't get around it, if you can't Zeno, if you can't Foreseeing Hit, which is really weak to, because everything is a battle card, by the way, which is why he's a tier 2, not a tier 1 or tier 1.5. It just loses to a lot of that stuff, and that's what's kind of concerning for him. But when you get going and when you get your maidens out and they can't stop it, it's game over. Finally, tier 3, and guess what? It's everything else. That is literally it. That is literally it. I definitely want to hear what your thoughts are. What did I miss? What did I get wrong? What did I get right? Honestly, I want to hear everything in the comments. If you skipped to the end, you're a jackass. But I still love you. And if anything, yeah, definitely let me know in the comments. Like, dislike. I will see you either in Vegas or in the next one. And I will be doing the deck list. I will be reviewing over Atlanta. And I'm very tired right now. Later.